It is finally spring, guys. At the moment, all the back bit of the allotment is grass, basically, up until the pond bit. So what I'm thinking is, I want to make like a sort of Mediterranean courtyardy area where I can like sit, have it gravelled, have a nice table and chairs there for in the summer, because I get a lot of sun back here in the summer. It gets really nice. So I'm going to, I've laid out the shape that I'm thinking already with this black plastic. So I'm going to cover this area with some ground cover. Eventually that'll all be gravelled as well. And then this fencing that I've got here where the raspberries grow up, I'm going to continue that. Well, I'll have a space here where I can walk through and get to that planter in this bed. Continue that along there, and I've got some gold and some white raspberries as well, which I'm going to plant in there. Not figured out exactly what I'm going to put back there yet, but there'll be something there, so it's sort of like a little courtyard area is the plan. The reason I'm not just going to dig it, so it's just soil and then plant into that, is because as you can see there's massive trees and the roots go all under here, so it's not an ideal place to be digging and planting things. They just won't do really well here. So I'm thinking just have some like terracotta pots and stuff with some nice bits in, grow some bits up there, up over the arch. Obviously need to leave some access as well though, so I can't gravel the whole lot, so I'm leaving like a strip of grass so we can access, I can access my shack, they can access their shed, things like that. So first I just need to move things out the way so that I've got the space to work. I've got a rhubarb here, which is in the way. I'm going to leave this bit so that I can walk through anyway. But for now then I just need to, while it's dormant, while it's not growing too much, I'm just going to dig it out. I'm going to put it in a pot for now until I decide where to put it. Just got an empty pot here, which I'm just going to put it in. There's some worms. Good. This was an old chili pepper, I think. So this bit can go in the compost. I might be able to use some of this soil with some fresh, obviously. Right, need a spade. Gonna dig quite wide around it because they spread quite a bit. I don't want to hurt it or break its roots too much. And then I'm just going to chuck it in that pot until I decide where I want it. Okay. There we go. There you go, lad. Okay, that should be all right for now. Just going to fill this hole in a bit so that no one falls down it. Just going to rake some of these twigs and stuff off of here before I go covering it. So, I've got 2 ground cover sheets that are potential. I've got this one which is rolled up, which was already, well, I found it on the floor there, so whenever I had that, no idea. But the thing is, it's only going to be that wide, which that might be all right, but I'm kind of thinking this one, because then I can just open it out and just cut the size that I need. It might be easier So I think, yeah, I'm just going to do this one. Also thinking, because every time you put a peg in, that's another hole in the layer where weeds can take root and grow through. So if I use this, which is just a bigger, wider sheet, hopefully I won't need to do as many pegs, is the thinking anyway. So let's see. So this is just from Amazon. Weed Control Landscape Fabric, 2 meters by 10 meters. So we'll see how this goes. Oh my God. Nearly stacked it. Oh my God. Okay, so I've laid it out basically where I think I want it. So I want it up to there, down to here, and then ending about here. So there's kind of a line that I'm going to cut across for the length of it. I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger than I think I need it so that I can fold it under though. Sorted. Let's start pegging over this side. I'm just going to pause this task there for a second, guys, just because the sun's starting to go down and I wanted to take you on a quick little tour of the plot. So I'm going to do that. We'll start down this end first. It's not a full plot. It's, I can't remember what they're called, something to do with sticks in it. So it's not a full plot, but I'll start at this end. So this end is the one that you approach when you come up the communal walkway, basically. So on this end, these two covered up rows, mini polytunnels, are my dahlia beds. So this becomes a dahlia archway, not archway, sorry, dahlia pathway in the summer. So at the moment they're all covered up because obviously we're only in really early spring, start of March, so I don't feel comfortable opening them up yet. But soon. And then on this side, so that's not ours, that's my neighbour's. So this side here, usually this is the pumpkin patch. So I've got these poles in the bits that they're planted in. So, well, one, I can see with these on the top where I need to water, basically. So I can just aim the water into there and it gets directly to the roots. So that's usually where the pumpkins go. That's my pumpkin patch. And then usually at the back there, I do the beans, a wigwam of beans basically. And then normally here I do sweet corns, but as you can see, this is a job I've just completed. I've just built a compost bin. I've just got 2 bins at the moment, just going to see how they get on. I only finished it like a week ago or something like that, so going to see how they get on. So I'm still figuring out the actual layout because obviously I can't do sweet corns there anymore. So still figuring that on, so stay tuned, we'll see what occurs with that. And then on this side, I've got the first of one of my herb beds. This is those, they need repainting again as well. These are just from B&Q. They're those ready-made, where you just sort of slot them in. Raised beds, they're really, really good, so I recommend you getting them. So this is one of my herb beds. I'm gonna see how they've got on from over the winter. Obviously the rosemary is happy. This one here, I usually do salads, so like when I turn up I can just come grab some salad basically. And in all of the beds you'll see I've got these. Wow, that's a bit destroyed. Okay, so I'm going to need some new ones, but basically I'll pour the water in there and it sort of seeps out into the soil in the summer, so I ain't got to water it so much. And then this archway I grow normally mini pumpkins up, so baby boos and Jack be littles, so mini white ones and mini orange ones, so it becomes a sort of Halloween archway. I also usually grow some like purple beans up it as well, so it's really Halloweeny. Looks cool. Got some more little herbs in pots around the plot. This is another herb bed, which I think most of them have died at their annuals anyway, so I mean all these beds just need sorting out. I need to put some compost, some fresh compost on them, some manure on them. Obviously not the herb beds, not that one for example, because that's more Mediterranean things and lemon balm, so they don't really like really posh soil, they like it pretty dreadful. So I probably won't end up putting fresh compost or manure on that, but the other beds I will do. This is another bed, not sure what I'm going to put in it this year, we shall see. And that's my little farm fresh pumpkin sign, because it reminded me of Animal Crossing. Got that in the Cotswolds. And then along the edge here, I've got some bulb plants, so it looks pretty when they start coming up. I've got this massive rosemary, which seems to love it there. And then I've got this sage, which seems to love it as well. And then next to this bit, I've got the orchard. So let's have a little gander in here. So along this edge, I've got apple trees. They're cooking apples. Not entirely sure what type they are, to be honest, because they were already here when I took the plot on a few years ago. The only ones I do know what they are this one, Cox's Orange Pippin. And I thought that one had died. Turns out it hasn't. So when I thought it was dead, I bought another one. The same thing. So those two I do know what they are. And then along here I've got a variety of different gooseberries. I've got some gooseberries, I've got some some black currants, blackberries, things like that along there. And I've got this pear tree as well, which I got last year, which seems to be coming into bud, so that's cool. And then these two in the middle are cherry trees. They're quite prolific, they're great. And then this one is a plum tree, although, what is it, damsons I think they are. If you saw my last video, you saw me pruning them back and giving them a spray down, and you'll probably see these dark tar sort of lines along the root, along the base, so I've got to do that again this year. Stops bugs from crawling up, basically. So that's the orchard, or what I call the orchard, basically. This is the other end of my plot, just after the orchard. So this bit here, I mean, it looks a bit of a mess at the moment. It's been winter, so it all needs sorting out, but this is the asparagus bed. So I put some asparagus in last year. They not flowered. The leaves came up, so I'm going to leave them again for a few years. Obviously, you have to leave asparagus before you can actually start picking them, but that's my asparagus bed. Usually up these trellises we grow like sweet peas or things like that smell nice as well. This little empty bed, I want to do a mushroom bed, a little mushroom bed in that, so we'll see how that gets on. I'll film it for you guys as well anyway. And then over here, this hasn't really got anything in it at the moment. This is just sort of like a compost bed currently. I did have some pumpkins growing it last year, which actually did really well. And then here is a mini brassica cage. So in here, I have 9-star broccoli and Asturian tree cabbage. So they're perennial brassicas, basically. And you just sort of harvest the leaves. They need sorting out a bit though, obviously. They're looking a bit scraggly at the moment, but that's what that is. And then I've got some Brussels in here. So this bed has some, I think it's just, I mean, they're no good now, but there's some Swedes and parsnips I think was in there, but that looks like Swedes to me. Although I think this year I might plant some shallots in there, possibly, to be decided. And then I've got a couple empty beds here. I've already put some fresh compost and manure in those. And then along the end here, you can't tell at the moment because they're not growing yet, but these are all raspberries that grow along there. So that's always really nice. It's like a living fence basically. And then I've got lavenders on the other side. Just want them to spread along. Here is, I have some garlics planted and had some leeks in here previously as well. So probably can't plant the shallots in there again this year, which is why I'm thinking I'm going to swap them over there, but we'll see when we get to that. Under here is all me strawberries. I'm not going to uncover them because although the weather's quite nice at the moment, we have been getting quite a lot of morning frost still, so that's why they're still covered up. And then in here, as you can see, I've got some more strawberries and some leeks growing in there as well, and these are the raspberries that I'm going to plant along this bit, along the edge here. And then over this side, I've got my shack. Basically, I call it Shakira. So my mum has a dodgy hip. So I say her hips don't lie, and I started calling her Shakira. Hence now the shack is called Shakira. Shakira, Shakira. So in here, it's a bit of a mess at the moment. It's not as bad as it was, to be fair. I did sort it out a little bit, but it's still a bit of a state, to be fair. It just needs sorting out a bit. This was already here as well when I took the plant. So it gets really, really hot in the summer. And it's also good to shelter in when it's chucking it down. And here's Jack. He needs sorting out a bit, bless him, but he comes out for the autumn and the summer times. And I really like it in here. It has like a Victorian Miss Havisham vibe to it. For some reason, that's what I think of anyway. Okay, so just out of the shack, out of Shakira, I've got my little pond section, and all the daffodils are starting to come up, which is lovely. It's finally spring. So at the moment, the pond is covered with this plastic. I usually do that in the winter just to keep it a bit more warm and stop it from frosting over and freezing so much. But I do get a lot of tadpoles and a lot of frogs around here, which I love. And then I've got my polytunnel, which also, as you can see, is currently being held together by tape because we've had a lot of horrible storms recently in the UK, so it's been ravaged. So that's a task for this year as well, to get it fixed up. And it's a mess in here as well, because in the winter I just kind of chuck things in here and try and keep them alive basically, but in the summer and when it's all sorted out, it does look lovely. That is my plot, guys. It's not massive and every bit of space is used, and obviously it's not looking as fab as it can at the moment because we're only in really, really early spring, but I'll keep you guys informed and film it as it goes through the year. Right, so going to just finish off this area with a row of this one because it's already kind of the width that I want it to be. Just going to do a row, basically a line, and then where these arches are, I'm just going to like do some slits there. There, that should be all right. And a little bit extra, just in case. Right, okay, so slit here. Okay, so this took me so long. It took me so much longer than I thought it would. Sort of like a curved shape, as you can see. And then I'm gonna have my raspberries around the edge and then bark it or gravel it, and that'll be a nice little seated area. Okay, so made a start on the seating area. It'll look nice when it's done, I swear. But I'm going to head off now, guys. The sun's going down, it's starting to get a bit chilly. But yeah, just want to say again, thank you for watching and stay tuned for what I do next.